Hey Josh, happy holidays to you.
You too, Ben.
Wanted to ask you about Mac. This is the time of the year. He's obviously never played a 17 game season before. I think he only played 17 games total in college. The season's a long grind. It's just been a long year for him, also with the draft and everything. How do you see him holding up physically and mentally, just with the long grind of the season, and any concern that he might be hitting a wall here at the end?
He's doing fine. No concern on that. Each rookie kind of handles that differently. There's always a stretch during the course of the middle of the season that's a little bit new to him because when you count the preseason, you count the preseason games, preseason work starting in July. Usually that happens somewhere, towards the end of October, in the middle of November, somewhere in there. But he's gotten through that. He understands what he needs to do. Does a great job with his regimen. Takes care of his body, his preparation. He's learned how to manage his time and what he needs to allocate it towards. And I think that's really an important thing for a young player. It just can't all be on the same thing. Can't all be on studying film and all that. There's got to be a balance between your preparation, taking care of your body, getting your rest, continuing to train, and do the things that keep you strong and healthy, and keep your mind healthy as well. So it's always a process. I think he's done a really good job of it. We continue to try to talk about that to all our guys, but I'm not concerned about that. He's ready to go. He wants to try to finish the season strong.
And just for the offense in general, what do you view as the keys to kind of getting back on track after these past couple games?
Consistency. There's stretches in these games where we play really well, and then there's stretches where our execution, wanes a little bit. So, there's no shortcut to it. There never has been. There never will be. We want to do the right thing in terms of trying to put our guys in the right positions to be successful. We'll try to put the best plan together for a new opponent that we don't know very well, and try to go out there and have 3 really good days of practice. And we've always kind of, thought that our execution on the practice field, gives us the best chance for that to become game reality. So that's the goal this week. Have a great Wednesday, and then try to follow it up with 2 more days, and then see if we can't carry it over into Sunday and play a consistent game, 4 quarters, start the game the right way, limit the mistakes, limit turnovers, penalties, try to play the game the right way from ahead. So that's our goal, and we know we're capable of it, but we gotta do it. Starts with me.
Thanks a lot, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Next question, Evan Lazar, followed by Yofi Chen.
Hey, Josh, Happy New Year.
You too, Evan. Thank you.
Thanks. I wanted to ask you about Jonnu, and you guys brought him in free agency, big signing, and how do you get him more involved? And I understand that you guys don't design pass plays just for one guy to get the football, but with Jonnu in particular, I was just curious, no targets on Sunday, how you feel like you can implement him a little bit more in the offense.
Yeah, just you said it. If you're sometimes when the game gets out of hand, you don't really get to call everything you'd like to call in the game the way you'd like to call it. And there's certain things, certain aspects of your game that become less productive when you're behind, and when you're behind by multiple scores, that that can become challenging because the defense doesn't necessarily allow you to do those things when they're in a different mindset of pass rush or what have you. So no, there's no question about that. He's a player that can do some things with the ball in his hands. We know that. Very talented guy, works really hard. I got to do better to get him the ball.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
Next question, Yofi Chen, followed by Bob Sosi.
Good morning, Josh. Happy holidays.
You too, Yovi.
Thank you. So a question about Sunday's games. Bills played pretty tough against your offense. From spectators' perspective, we feel like the game flow was impacted. Penalties, non-calls, guys bumping into each other after the play's over. So as a play caller, did you feel the same way?
Yeah, there's definitely too many situations where we were behind the down and distance, where I think 8 of our 11 third downs, I think were third down and 7 or more, and that's a result of, incomplete passes, negative plays, penalties, and those certainly have a significant impact on your ability to convert when you're playing the game in third and long, especially against a really good third down team like Buffalo is. So, we got to do a better job of keeping our composure and not getting into any skirmishes after the play. Also have to do a better job, of just positive runs, which I think we did. That was not a big issue the other day. The running game was pretty decent. We just got to be able to hit more of our early down possession passes so that we can stay ahead on the down and distance and continue to get ourselves in good situations and stay in a positive flow.
So talking about the keeping the composure, generally speaking, not just for the Sunday's game. So how much do you have to adjust your play calls on fly to accommodate your players' emotional swings, if at all?
Not much. Football's an emotional game, and I think, when you see that out there, it's because the guys care about trying to win and want to do the right thing for our team and our organization and our fans. And, we just have to, we've done a really good job historically of not getting involved in those kind of things. And that's what we got to get back to, and just, put our mind on their next play and try to do our job the right way between the whistles. That's really the focus has got to be there going forward.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep.
Final questions will go Bob Socci and Chris Ryan.
All right. Thanks, Stacy. Hey, Josh. Happy New Year.
Hey, Bob, you too.
Thank you very much. I was hoping we were past COVID questions, but I do have, I guess, kind of a two-parter for you. And I know every week you're dealing with the uncertainties of injuries with players in the NFL. A guy may be limited during the week, and you don't know his status for game day until game day. But I'm curious, when you're waiting on test results and player A may not be the same as player B in terms of the role he'd have in your game plan, how challenging it is to formulate a game plan, but at the same time devote attention to preparing a player who may be coming back on Sunday, during the week. And I guess along those lines too, with the defense, do you scheme more to, or do you game plan more to scheme than individual personnel when you don't know, on the other side?
Yeah, I think that's become our new normal, especially right now. And I think that, just years of experience dealing with injuries is the best thing I can relate it to. We've had many times here where a player is, questionable during the course of the week, and we're waiting for him to kind of turn the corner, but he can't really practice that much, or somebody else on another team is questionable on their side, and you're not sure if they're going to play or not, and you have to allocate the appropriate attention to that player. I don't think there's really a right or a wrong here. The best that we can do is, if there's a chance that the players are going to play on the other side, then we're going to prepare for them. No question about it. Unless they're labeled out, we're preparing for them all to be active and healthy. And if they're not, you would treat it like you would if the player got injured on the first play of the game. And so you just kind of move along with it. On your side, you have to certainly prepare to practice with the players that can practice during the course of the week as if they're going to play the game. And then we are, if there's a player that is coming back from injury and that may have a chance to play, or is a player who may test negative or come back from the protocols and reintegrate into the game plan, you just keep that player up to speed with being able to watch the film on Zoom and, have conversations to make sure he understands what his role in the game plan would be. So that he's prepared properly. And then ultimately, I think what you need to do at the very end is, if, once the decisions are made about who will and won't play, then I think you just have to make a determination about how many snaps you're willing to play said player who didn't practice. And, and some players might be different than others. Some players you may feel a little bit better about based on their injury or what the situation would be. Other players, maybe not as much. So you just have to make a call at that point in time about how you're going to use your depth, how much you want to use that player, and then try to move forward and try to do the best you can in the game.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it.
You got it, Bob.
Next question, Chris Ryan.
Hey, Josh, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Chris.
A couple of questions. First one is on the execution and consistency in the passing game, and obviously that's been a major topic of conversation. What do you see in regard to Mac and being able to execute on a more consistent basis, so you have those positive pass plays on first and second down?
Every positive pass play requires a lot of good things to be done, and so when you look at a singular event like Sunday's game, there are definitely a handful of things that I think that we could have done better at the quarterback position. There were things where the protection wasn't as good as we needed it to be, and there were times where maybe we didn't either read the coverage properly or get open, with enough separation for us to be able to throw and catch the ball, with the skill group. So it's always a team thing. I know everybody's going to point to the quarterback statistics and say he had a subpar day, but there's definitely things that the quarterback can do better and will do better. But the passing game is a function of a lot of people doing their job well, and there's no shortcut to that. We miss a blitz pickup and the quarterback throws the ball away. It's an incomplete pass, and he did the right thing. So there's a few situations like that have come up, and look, we got to do as good a job as we can of trying to have a good week of practice so that everybody goes out there and does the right thing. This week will be a challenge. I know that wasn't the question, but the Jacksonville defense will play as many different schemes as we've probably seen all year. Coach Cullen comes from the Baltimore family, and it's a big challenge, in terms of reading it all out, being on the same page, blocking all the different things that they do in the pressure game. This team pressures more than anybody else we've seen, and they'll come from everywhere. The secondary, the linebackers, the sideline. I mean, we got to be head on a swivel. So again, the passing game execution this week will be much the same as we need it to be every week. We got to do a good job across the board in protection, reading the routes the right way, running good routes, throwing accurately, making good reads, and then finishing the play with the ball.
And the final question is on Damian Harris, where obviously, the results were the results of the game, but it felt like he had a really, positive performance that's kind of gone understated after that one. Just his second and third efforts, particularly on that third touchdown play. What does that mean to the group, and what does he mean as a whole?
Damian's, he's a really tough runner. Gets a lot of dirty yards, after contact. Hard to bring down with one guy. Really, like I said it before, he kind of runs angry, and that's a good thing. And he did. He had a good day, and I thought we blocked well for him for the most part up front, gave him an opportunity to get started and get downhill into the defense, and he got around the corner a handful of times and got to the edge. So, the game was an interesting game, as you just mentioned. Damian's performance, or the performance in general of the running game, was fairly solid. We just, when you lose control of the score, you're trying to stay within your game plan, which I thought we tried to do that as best we could until the score was 33-21, which at that point I felt like we had to kind of go away from that. But he was productive, and certainly did his job well.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep.